trying to make an aesthetic setup right now, but if I put it here, it's too close. I don't know if this looks too crazy, but I guess we'll give it a go. This year I moved from Canberra to Sydney to try and become a full-time dancer, and here are 5 things that I learned in 2024. Now, Canberra is a small city that is the capital of Australia, but not many people really know about it. It's where the Parliament resides, and a lot of people that live there become full-time workers and they work in the public service. For me, I have always loved dance, and it was something that I really wanted to pursue. One day I just thought to myself, if I'm to become an office worker in the future, I'm not gonna do it now. I'm gonna try and pursue my love for dance now, and then if it so be that I end up in the office, that's a future Amanda problem. But for now, I want to try and pursue full-time dance. So I quit all 3 of my jobs that I had in Canberra. I moved to Sydney, but instead of moving straight away, I moved to 4 different places before I settled in my current home now. So I am currently renting in Sydney. And yeah, I learned a lot this year. Number 1 is to take the leap. So like I said, I moved from Canberra to Sydney. That itself was a really big shift. Canberra is super small, super quiet, very quaint, whereas Sydney is very busy, very big. It was a lot to get adjusted to, but eventually I got there, and taking this leap really changed my life. I feel like this year has been the best and the worst year ever, and I'm kind of here for it. I'm here for the challenge. Taking the leap comes in many different forms, whether it is messaging a bunch of people, whether they are inquiring for dance teachers or not, whether it is moving from a location, whether it's even just showing up. I feel like there are so many different versions of taking a leap, but the first step to actually getting what you want is to take that leap. So as scary as it is, you just have to do it. And for me, quitting my jobs was very, very much taking that leap. I think getting rid of my financial security really pushed me in terms of trying to find financial income while only using dance as my job. Because dance is all I do, there wasn't many avenues I could take. Obviously there is being the dancer, but because I'm from Canberra and I don't have many connects in Sydney yet, the main thing I could do is dance teaching. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna reach out to 10 different studios and see who gets back to me and wants me to teach there. And I was very, very lucky, and I'm very grateful that a lot of people actually wanted me to teach. Some of those studios I'm still teaching at, some of them I'm not. It just depended on what they were looking for. Now, in saying that, it leads me to point number 2. Burnout is very, very real. Burnout is something that I didn't think about, but it is something that is so real, and it is okay. I feel like when I originally got burnt out, I was a bit scared because my creative outlet is dance. And because I was dance teaching so much and I kept using that creative space, all of a sudden I didn't have much more creativity for me. And I started to think, if this is supposed to be my job, I need to get rid of that burnout because I need to keep this creative outlet alive. Being constantly creative is something that you need to be as a full-time dancer. You need to always be innovative, create new ideas. But when you're constantly teaching, you're taking that creativity and you're giving it out, and you're not receiving much. You are receiving stuff from your students, absolutely. But in terms of upskilling, if you're not constantly training yourself, you eventually get burnt out, always using that creative pool. And even if you're training yourself, you might get exhausted because you're continuously training others and you're training yourself at your same time, but no one's training you. So how do you prevent that burnout? And the answer is, I'm still trying to figure out how to prevent that burnout. It is a fine line, but I feel like it is necessary to go through that burnout because you find ways of avoiding it. You find little ways of tweaking your lifestyle, whether it's your eating habits, whether it's your creative mind, whether it's finding different ways to teach. You'll find a way to avoid that burnout. But it doesn't mean that it won't come back later. And I think learning to accept that burnout is okay is one thing that I definitely took away from this year. Point number 3 is to document yourself. I think journaling or reflecting is super duper beneficial. If you reflect and you journal or you document anything that you do, when you look back, you will realize how much you have achieved. For example, towards the end of this year, I started to reflect a little bit more, and I am so glad I documented some of my journeys. Now, last video I put on here was 10 months ago, so hi, welcome back. Since that journey, I was supposed to make a vlog every week about me becoming a full-time dancer in Sydney. that did not happen. Instead, I just was trying to stay present, but it doesn't mean I didn't film some things. So I was still documenting, and even if it's not for YouTube, it was for myself, and I got to see that I started to achieve everything I had on my bucket list, you know. I got invited to judge interstate. I traveled to Europe to go to a very big dance battle that I always wanted to go to for the first time. But in the moment, I wasn't thinking, oh wow, little Amanda would have loved to achieve this. I was just approaching that task at hand. And instead of being, well, I was still in the moment, but instead of being like, wow, look how far I've come, I was just trying to be there. So now when I'm looking back at those videos, I can realize, oh my God, I have actually achieved a lot this year. And it was purely just from quitting my job and moving to a new city where there are more opportunities. Point number 4 is that being kind will always come back around to you. This goes with talking to people. It is very beneficial for networking as well, because if you're just a nice person, it will actually go a long way. It doesn't hurt to be nice to people, to talk to new people you've never talked to before. And just from being nice, you also don't know what opportunities might arise from that, whether it be work opportunities or just things for life. For example, I was teaching a regular class at a studio, and I got along really well with one of the students, and every week I'd ask, how's uni? How's this? How's that? Because I moved around so much, I was about to get kicked out of my next sublet because the person was coming back, and I had nowhere to live. So I was asking around on my social media, hey, is there anyone subletting? And my student that I saw every week was just like, hey, you can live at mine. And I was like, oh my gosh, are you so sure? And she's like, yeah, I'm going to Europe for 2 months. You can just live at mine. And I was so grateful. So thank you, Kaylee, for letting me live at yours if you're listening to this. It just really showed me the power of just being genuine and being present in the connections that you are forming with people. So I'm very grateful for everyone who I've met. And yeah, point number 4 is just be kind, be nice to people, make those genuine connections. And point number 5 is you don't have to accept every single opportunity that is given to you. But in saying that, you should also try and push yourself to take opportunities that you are not comfortable with. I feel like sometimes when you're moved to a new location, you might be given so many opportunities and it's overwhelming, you want to take it all. But when you do that, you're at risk for burnout, which I know before I said it's okay to be burnt out, but at the end of the day, you still want to not be burnt out. You want to keep that creativity alive. So sometimes you don't have to take every single opportunity. But sometimes you should take opportunities that scare you a little bit, that make you a bit uncomfortable, because if you take those opportunities, you will get so much experience and you don't know where you might end up. So take those opportunities and see how you go, see what comes from it. Anyway, those are 5 points that I have learnt from this year. It has been a very big year, and I was meant to document everything that I did this year, but I was just so stuck in being present that I didn't end up doing that. So my one and only video that I have on this channel is me entering a dance battle earlier this year. And I reckon I'm gonna enter more. I'm gonna try and vlog a little bit more, but we'll see how we go. I'm just keen to see what 2025 kind of holds for me. And yeah, we'll see how we go for 2025. We're gonna keep this dance journey going and see where it comes from here.